I think everybody remembers their first time. I'd rather forget mine. Mainly because after we were done and I pulled out a cigarette, she pulled out a wad of chewing tobacco. It was then that I noticed the men's work boots and what I can only describe as an excessive amount of flannel. But at least we were young, because time can be cruel. And just like rock beats scissors, gravity beats testicles, every time. And now it just looks like an old tire swing, or maybe an improper fraction. And somebody definitely forgot to carry the one. But at any rate, you know, at a certain age you start to develop not only that, but interesting hobbies. Well, I wouldn't say interesting. Middle-aged old man hobbies. And it seems like you only have two options, right? You can choose to be the shirtless guy with the metal detector, and option number two is bird watching. Well, unfortunately, in my neighborhood, the crackheads have eaten all the birds. And so I chose to, instead of studying birds, I would document the migratory patterns of the local crackhead population. But I'm not sure if they're crackheads. They could be homeless, because they're dirty, but they're also fast. And so one night, I set out to follow them, you know, to once and for all uncover the truth. And so I saw them gathered, like in an alley, and one of them I nicknamed Twitchy just took off running. And this must have triggered the prey instinct in the other crackheads, because they just took off after him. Now immediately, one of the crackheads lost a shoe. And later I would learn that he was in fact schizophrenic, and it was no accident, because he was actually kicking his shoe towards the cockroach he believed responsible for 9/11. Meanwhile, Twitchy and the others neared the finish line, which proved to be a old Buick that hopped the curb and nearly ran them all down. Undeterred, Twitchy began to do a series of spin moves. I was so proud of him. He must have broken 12 tackles that day. And I wasn't the only one who was proud, because later, at the medal ceremony, older, wiser crackhead emerged from the shadows in a dirty karate outfit and awarded Twitchy his third-degree crack belt. You know, I wish I was Italian, because that would give me permission to yell at inanimate objects. Let's take, for instance, the chair over there. I'd like to have the freedom to say, "Oh, you think you're better than me?" That'd be fun. So when I moved up here to Delaware, I thought for sure, you know, since based on proximity to New Jersey and New York, that everyone would talk like Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. But it wasn't until I worked with a man named Joe D'Angelo, Italian-American, Philly born and bred. Now this guy, I didn't see him the first 3 weeks I was there, but I heard him as soon as I clocked in, my very first day. Apparently, some poor woman named Janice had recently retired, but on her way out the door, she had screwed up the inventory, I think it was, and Joe had been tasked with fixing it. So every 15 minutes, like a damn cuckoo clock, I'd hear him screaming from across the warehouse, "Oh, thanks a lot, freaking Janice." Of course, he didn't say freaking, but I have to. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until like 3 weeks later that we actually interacted. But it was completely one-sided. Because all he did was just come look over my shoulder, and then he yelled out, "Who's training this guy?" And, somebody said some name, Ben or somebody, and he goes, "Oh, that figures. I'm shocked. I'm freaking shocked." And then he just turns and walks away as I'm pivoting to shake his hand. And but it wasn't really necessary to talk to Joe in order to get to know Joe. For instance, one night we're all eating down in the break room, and he opens up his dinner, and he just starts going nuts. And he's like, "Where's the sauce? Where is it? Oh, the fuck is this? Sorry, what the hell is this?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna call him." And so I'm so excited because I know something's about to go down. So he picks up the phone and he says, "Well, first of all, let me tell you, your service sucks. Secondly, you changed the orange sauce from orange to a slightly darker orange, and you didn't tell anybody." And the kid on the other end, he says, "Well, does it taste good?" He said, "Well, of course it tastes better, but that's not the point." And it went on and on for a minute, and at the very end, in his favorite way, he says, "Oh, and in case you hadn't figured it out yet, go yourself." And that was that. And of course, me being me, every day I would find at least some kind of sauce packet, whether it be ketchup, barbecue, mustard, something. And when he wasn't at his desk, I'd sneak over and I'd put it right in the middle, like, a sauce packet. And I'd hear him, I'd wait for the inevitable, which was, him screaming out about, he'd say, "Oh, who did this? Whose is this?" And he goes, "Oh, never mind. I know. Where is he?" And on and on it went. So, another time, I was worked manufacturing, and so with each unit we assembled, we had to write the serial number and then our name out beside it on this whiteboard. Now Joe spelled his name with the capital D, apostrophe lowercase a, right? So my last name's Keithan. So of course I wrote mine the same way, capital K, apostrophe, lowercase e. And I could see him coming. And I start laughing. And he looks at me, he's going, as he's approaching, and he says, "What are you doing over there?" And I said, "Well, I was hoping you would make me an honorary D'Angelo." And without missing a beat, he said, "First of all, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to be a D'Angelo, and you never will be." And I kind of hurt my feelings, if I'm honest. And I think he could see that, by my reaction. So he says, no, don't worry about it. He says, you're a mutt. My brother's kid's a mutt. He married an Irish. So I was like, "Bro, you can't tell a kid they're a mutt." And he said, no, it's okay. I tell him to the face every Thanksgiving. It's all right.